Hi, got a short story I want to tell you today about my ninth great grandfather. His name was George Wyllys, and he was referred to most of his life as governor, and I'll tell you why. George Wyllys was born in 1590 in a place called Fenny Compton in Warwickshire, England. Now, the Wyllys family was very respected and quite wealthy. He attended several universities as a young man, but there's no indication that he ever received a diploma. He never graduated. His main focus appears to have been gaining experience and background to take his father's place as one of the landed gentry there in England. It's probably during his time at the university that Grandpa George became a Puritan. Now, in 1609, he married Bridget Young at the Holy Trinity Church in Stratford-on-Avon. The couple had 3 children before Bridget died 20 years into their marriage. He then married a widow by the name of Mary Brisby, and together they had 1 son. And shortly after they were married, Grandpa and Grandma Wyllys and their children left for England and arrived here in the Americas. Now, by 1634, Grandpa George was appointed an assistant to the General Court of the Massachusetts Bay Colony. And 2 years later, in 1636, he sent his steward and 20 domestics and some of his indentured servants to Hartford to purchase land and to oversee the building of a house there. He had the largest home lot of any of the early Hartford settlers and one of the largest homes in all of Connecticut. Now, George and Mary, Grandpa and Grandma, and the children arrived in Hartford in 1638, and at that time he became the deputy governor of the colony. And in 1642, he served 1 year as the governor there. So Grandpa Wyllys's 1 year term as governor had some noteworthy events. Let me just share a couple of those with you. There was a rumor that the Narragansetts were going to form an alliance with several other Indian tribes and try to destroy the English settlers. Connecticut had to keep itself in a constant state of military readiness, and that fell upon Grandpa George to make sure that happened. Grandpa Wyllys and the General Court were also represented in Boston when the Articles of Confederation between the colonies of Massachusetts Bay, New Haven, and Connecticut were produced. And these articles addressed some of the long-standing need for cooperation between some of the early New England colonies. And then finally, in December of 1642, as his time as governor was wrapping up, Grandpa Wyllys and the General Court created and passed the first penal code in Connecticut, which named some of the capital crimes that could be prosecuted, I guess. Now, these capital offenses included the following: worshiping a strange god, witchcraft, blasphemy, willful murder, slaying another through guile, kidnapping, false testifying, rebellion against the colony, cursing of parents by a child over 16 years of age, and finally, stubbornness by a child over 16 years of age. So besides the death penalty, suitable punishments could include branding, mutilation, whipping, the stocks, imprisonment, or paying a fine. If it was up to me, I'd rather pay a fine than be branded. That just doesn't sound pleasant. After his 1 year term as governor expired, Grandpa George served as an assistant to the General Court of the colony of Connecticut and was also chosen to be a commissioner from Connecticut to the United Colonies of New England in 1643. Grandpa George died in Hartford, Connecticut on March 9th, 1645. And he's buried in Hartford's ancient burying ground, and his name appears on what's now referred to as the Founders Monument in Hartford. I've been to Hartford many times, and I regret I've never known this story before, so it's on my to-do list the next time I get up that way. Their Grandpa Wyllys's home in Hartford, Connecticut stood until 1827 when it was finally torn down. But today there is a Wyllys Street in Hartford that is named after him. I found it interesting that there are no known portraits or likenesses of Grandpa George that exist today. But I think it's kind of neat that we do have a colonial governor in our heritage. And next time I get to Hartford, I'll take some pictures. If I can find anything, I'll let you know. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good day.